Welcome to the Real Estate Asset Management Podcast, brought to you by Break of Day Capital. The show focuses on educating syndicators and apartment owners on how to build systems and manage their properties more efficiently to become a best-in-class operator. 100% straight talk. Let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Asset Management Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Lipsky. This podcast is focused on educating operators, building better systems, and becoming a best-in-class operator. Be sure to join our Facebook group, Asset Management Mastery, where we have a great community of thousands of like-minded individuals sharing resources and best practices. Today on the podcast, we have Lisa Landry. Welcome, Lisa. Can you start by telling the listeners a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Gary. I own Landry Designs and also Landry Staging. And in our design company, we do residential and commercial properties, but we've really started focusing over the last 10 years or so on multifamily across the country. So adding value to B and C class properties is kind of our specialty. And we have a large team and we're very involved. We do lots and lots of projects. And I became a syndicator for the first time just about a month or two ago. So learning from that side as well and bringing everything to the table that I can.
Congratulations on your syndication deal. And it's great that you have that mindset of you have to provide value that's going to return, have a strong ROI. So it's great that you've got, that really strong interior design background and then yet that business side as well.
Yes, that makes a big difference. I've worked with property management companies and syndicators and property owners over the last 10 years. And so my thought process has always been, how do we get the biggest bang for the buck? How do we get the best return for these, owners so that they'll want to use us again, obviously. Then I got involved in, investing myself a couple of years ago and have just learned more and more that way. So I really feel like it's very well-rounded what we bring to the table now. And we see it kind of from all angles.
And you worked on a project, a deal that I was a KP on in Crowley, Texas, and very small leasing office, and you really made it come alive, and also other touches throughout the property. And I was really impressed with what you did there.
Thank you. We really don't have any project too large or too small. We work on a lot of smaller properties. A lot of times that's our first property or project with an investor or syndicator is something smaller. They kind of test us out on that a lot of times. And then as they grow and start buying bigger properties, we just grow with them and we do bigger properties. So we've done lots of them that are, 100 units or maybe a little bit less, all the way up to like 500 units. And we love working on all of those. I think you can add value to any, size property.
Yeah. I truly believe, a really good model unit and leasing office is really important to convey to a future resident, what the quality of life and the community is going to be at that property. And quite often it's often overlooked. When I'm touring properties for comps or properties I want to buy, that's usually one of the weakest parts of a community that I see.
Yeah, I agree. And I think because this industry is pretty male dominated, that guys love to get in there and work on the asphalt and work on the carpentry and work on the foundation and, add a soccer field or all those kinds of things. And this other part, the image and the branding, sometimes gets overlooked. And to be honest, that's the first thing that we should be focusing on is the image and the branding, because these potential residents, they decide what they're going to go look at by looking online. So we need to make sure that the website looks amazing, the logo looks amazing, the branding is cohesive throughout the property. Then when they drive up, how does it look? What does the exterior of the property look like? Exterior paint, we're helping select all of that and doing rendering there. And that makes a big difference. How does it look when you drive up to the property? How does the leasing office look when you drive up? We're looking at everything from what does this doormat look like to what stickers or what signage do you have on the doors that are taped on, to when you walk in, is somebody greeting you immediately, to what does it smell like when you walk in, to is it functional and dramatic and beautiful? All these things, it should look like a model home when you walk into a leasing office. So even if it's a B or C class property, which is what we specialize in, that leasing office should look like an A class leasing office. Then when you have it photographed, then that goes onto the website, which is, great image building to get people to come look at your property at least. you're competing against a lot of other properties online, and for them to at least want to come look at yours, and then when they see it, they can remember, oh, that was that one that had that really cool orange leasing office. To set yourself apart from the competitors out there, I think is really important. So not only the leasing office, but the other elements too, the model unit, the pool area, the landscaping, the signage, all of those things have to come together to make the biggest impact that you possibly can with that property.
I fully agree. So for someone that never really thought of that, before, a newbie syndicator, let's say they have a 150 unit B-class property, maybe 1,000 square feet of leasing office and 1,000, square feet of a model unit. What's a price range that they should be looking to spend on that? And then, what kind of return on investment could they expect?
Yes. Well, regarding the pricing, we have what we call a multifamily menu of services, and it lists like different sizes of properties and how many rooms kind of are in the leasing office, how many areas you're working on. Are you adding a gym to it? Are you adding a business center? All those little elements can affect the pricing. I would say that leasing offices typically run from about 10,000 to maybe 50,000, depending on how big they are. But the quality of what we put in most of these is about the same. We're not using high-end product in B and C class properties, but we do want it to look really dramatic and high-end and amazing. So even the lighting and all of those kinds of things that we're looking at as well. And I'm happy to share that, and I'll give you my email at the end, but happy to share that with anybody that wants that menu of services, because it does show pricing. Regarding the ROI, the return on investment, it's so amazing to me how much feedback we get back after we've done these properties. We just finished one that was a big property. It was like maybe a 400 unit property, and it's a B plus, maybe even an A class is what they were trying to take it up to. And we actually worked on it with Brian Amos's group to do the construction part, and we did the decorating part. But the owner sent me an email afterwards, and we put it on our website, but it just says, when we took over the property 6 months ago, we were at 80% occupancy. Now that this whole renovation is done, everybody that comes in wants to lease, and they're completely full. This is a big property to be completely full. So we just made it look so cool and memorable, that it makes a big difference. And then the other way that we know that we're getting a good ROI is that when we've done projects with syndicators and owners that continually buy properties again and again and again, and they always call us back to use us, then we know that, we're doing something right. So although we're not seeing like the numbers, they're not always giving us the exact numbers. I think putting this into the budget is so key. Like we have one syndicator that at the very beginning, he's like, Lisa, I didn't put enough budget in. What can we do for this? And I'm like, well, we'll see what we can do. And we did as much as we could. But then the next one, he put more in. He put what we really needed. So now we're doing really great leasing offices for them, really great model units, really great pool areas for them, with murals and all kinds of things. And those properties, that they always think they're going to keep for 5 years, they're selling in like 2 years, or maybe 3 years, and just getting so much more back than they expected. And I think that just makes it where there's kind of three things. One, when you redo these leasing offices, one, the potential residents, want to live there. They come in and it's just like an immediate, you have about 15 seconds really to make this impact. So they need to be greeted immediately and see something really cool. So that's one thing, is the potential residents want to live there. The second thing is the current residents, when they see that these things are happening, they feel like there's more pride of ownership in where they live, and they love these amenities being upgraded. And we help with dog parks and, all kinds of things like that as well. So they love that it's looking different and unique, and the signage is changing and the paint is changing, and their unit interiors, we do unit interior packages as well. Their units are starting to look better. So that's the second key. And the third key, which people don't really think about, is the on-site staff. Once this is done, they really enjoy coming to work because it's such a great space. It's functional. It looks awesome. It operates well for them. They don't have as much trouble leasing when people come in. So your turnover is less, which is another, cost. It's another expense for the business. So trying to keep that, NOI where it needs to be is super important.
So let's say, I know you're based in Texas. I've got a property in Tucson that I want you to work on. So would I send you pictures, or do you send, fly someone out? How does that typically work if you're working on kind of a, everyone says they're working on a tight budget.
Yes. Well, and we do properties all over the country, and that's what we've started doing in the last few years because we really need to be able to. So our first step really is having a Zoom call where we kind of go over how we work, talk about the property in detail. Any pictures that you want to send us is great. We can look at the current website, kind of get a feel for what we're thinking, talk about the budget, nail down the budget, and then we get a retainer to start working on the designs. As soon as we get that retainer, we fly out to the property. We want to see it in person. We want to measure everything, take pictures, video, whatever we need to do. And then we start working on the designs. So again, we're not going to take on an out-of-state project for something really, really small. But if there's a leasing office or laundry area or some amenities or whatever, if it's enough for us to go, then we go. We love working on all sizes of properties, and we want to be in it for the long haul as part of your team, so that again, down the road, if you need something, we're right there. As soon as people get a contract, signed, even a lot of times when they have their LOI accepted, they're calling us and we're getting started. We're trying to hit the ground running so that as soon as you close, the day that you close, things are moving fast so that we can get everything done and get these renovations done as soon as possible so that you can start getting the benefits of that higher income.
Absolutely. Fully agree. Tell us about your most interesting project that you've worked on to date.
Well, I'm just trying to think. There's so many. We've done so many in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And, one that I just think of, it was called Del Sol on Royal Lane. That's Perry Zhang in our group and Ed Sittler. And this was their first, I think it was Ed's first syndication. And it was a couple of years ago in Dallas. And it's maybe like a C- property and just really rough, around the edges. And we went in and completely, with the property management company, Citygate was the property manager on this one, with them, renovated it, completely redid it, just made it look like, again, an A-class property when you walk in. And that one was just on the bus tour recently that we were on with our group, and they're selling it right now. And it's just this huge profit that they've gotten in just a very, short amount of time. So that was a really fun one because that's probably the most rough area that we've worked on a property, but that doesn't bother us a bit. We just get in there, do our regular thing, and then try to elevate that tenant base.
I love it. And just because it's a C- or, it doesn't, it's like you said, that pride of ownership, and it could change the whole reflection on the community, how they treat that property too. It's so important. If you're taking care of it, they will go the extra mile to take care of that property too.
Yep, I agree. It's really fun. I just think this is such a fun industry, and all of our design team, we have multifamily specialists on the team. We have a team of like 21 or 22 now. And everybody just loves working on these properties. It's almost like you get a new little baby, that it's a new fun project. And what's this one going to be? And what does this one have that's unique about it? And how can we take that and run with it and make it memorable and separate it from all the properties in the area? And we think it's super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show and adding a ton of value on how interior decorating really boosts your NOI. Please tell the listeners where they can find more about you and your company.
Okay, they can check out our website. It's landrydesigns.com. And if they want to email directly, I would just send it to info@landrydesigns.com. That's the quickest way to get information back if you're wanting something. I'm happy to, talk to anybody about it that has any upcoming projects.
Awesome. So to all of our listeners, thanks for listening in. And if you like this episode, please head over to iTunes and Stitcher, like, subscribe, and review this podcast, as it will help us grow our audience and reach more people. And if you'd like to learn more about what we do at Break of Day Capital, head over to breakofdaycapital.com and sign up for our newsletter. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.